We are hearing reports that the Jaguars have elected to move Travis Hunter full time to cornerback. I'm here to let you all know why that's a smart decision. And then CJ Stroud and Will Anderson, they receive player options. But I'm here to let you know, CJ Stroud, you're on the clock, buddy. And then we're going to talk about a wide receiver by the name of Chris Bell out of Louisville and break down his draft profile. Y'all know we're going to talk about it, break it all down right after this.
Welcome to your number one spot for all NFL news and content, NFL Central.
What's going on, football fans, and welcome back into another episode of NFL Central, your number one spot for everything NFL. I'm your host here, Bobby, and I'm holding it down for today's daily episode. So if you're tuned in, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell, man. It doesn't matter who you root for. We can go ahead and talk our smack to our rivals over here, but this is a channel that's all for the love of the game. Football, the best sport in the world. But hey, let's jump right into it. Now, it's being reported by a number of outlets, more specifically Ian Rappaport of NFL Network, that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to move Travis Hunter to cornerback full time. And man, was I happy to see those news, simply because I had my trepidation when he wanted to play both sides of the football, like his former head coach and Deion Sanders. And I think that, and I said it last year, kind of after a few games after the season, on why it was important to move him to the cornerback position. And last year, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they moved him around quite a bit. He mostly played on the offensive side of the ball, but I feel like Travis Hunter, his superpowers is playing cornerback. I think he has good ball skills. I think he has the athleticism to go out there and be a really good cornerback. And though he did excel and do well in certain spots as a wide receiver, I just thought that it was just too much on the young player. I look at his physique and you can just tell right away he wasn't built like his former head coach, Deion Sanders, who was able to play multiple positions throughout his football career. And when you think about Travis Hunter, man, it's a reason why he got hurt. Now, everybody gets hurt. You know what I'm saying? But he was only able to play 7 games for a guy that's been relatively healthy throughout his collegiate career. Obviously, the NFL is a different type of game, but I think it's best that these guys figure it out. And I kind of leaned more into this take that it's smart for the Jacksonville Jaguars to move Travis Hunter to the cornerback spot because of the wideouts that they got in Jacksonville, and where you don't want to go out there and just try to have too much into the offense to where it's throwing off chemistry or it's throwing off those other guys over there. They traded for Jacoby Myers. You got a guy that came up and we discovered in Parker Washington. And then you also have Brian Thomas Jr., who's a really good football player. And yes, they did lose ETN, but that's a running back spot that they'll be able to figure out in this draft. And when you talk about the wide receiver spot, I feel like they have enough, but you definitely can utilize some more on that defense. Now, the defense did play really well last season down there in Jacksonville, but I feel like if you can get Travis Hunter majority of his snaps on the defensive side of the ball, he could potentially go out there and raise his game to a level that could potentially see him as a Pro Bowl type cornerback, maybe an all-pro type cornerback in this league, because he's that damn good and that damn dynamic as a football player. Now, it's also been mentioned by Ian Rappaport that he will have some moments on the offensive side of the ball, but he will spend majority of his time on the defense, and I think that's the way to go. That's a way that you balance it all out for if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm really excited to see what he can do this upcoming season. We have a long way before we get to watch football games, and I'm sick. Yeah, we get to watch, you know what I'm saying, the spring football league that's out there, United Football League, but It's nothing like the NFL. Though I still love football and tune into a number of other things, flag football games and whatnot, I still can't wait to cheer on my team and watch other games around the NFL because I am an avid watcher of this game. So shout out to the Jacksonville Jaguars because I think this is a smart move. I know there's going to be people that bring up the fact that they drafted him so high in last year's draft and how you gave up draft capital to where you don't have a first round pick this season. But I don't think that stuff really matters right now. I think that you just got to take the hit on the chin and just keep it pushing and see how you can maximize Travis Hunter's skill set, how you can maximize the player, and it will all pay off if he lives up to something in the terms of Pro Bowl, All Pro, and be able to help your defense be able to, thrive in such a way similarly or even better than how they did this past season. So you all let me know your thoughts down and below on the Jacksonville Jaguars moving Travis Hunter full time to a cornerback where I think he belongs. Let me know down below. Now let's talk about CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans. The Texans have exercised the 2027 fifth-year options on quarterback CJ Stroud and defensive end Will Anderson. We know this is well-deserved for my guy, Will Anderson. It's well-deserved for CJ Stroud, though he has had his moments these last few seasons to where there appears to be some regression. It absolutely has been some regression if we're going to keep it real and call it how we see it, especially because when we watch CJ Stroud last year, he gave us a headache, and I'm not even going to lie to you. Well-deserved for Will Anderson, who I expect is going to get a huge payday coming up here shortly. Maybe they let him play out this year or, sign him before the start of training camp and all that stuff. But it's well-deserved, and they did go out there and re-up on Danielle Hunter for 1 year. So hopefully that money now starts to shift over to Will Anderson. But CJ Stroud, man, it's been real tricky trying to evaluate and watch CJ Stroud the last few seasons, more specifically the last time we seen him on the football field. The last time we seen him on the football field was versus the New England Patriots. And I believe if CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans beat the New England Patriots, they get to the Super Bowl because we know that the Denver Broncos at that time, they did not have Bo Nix due to that ankle injury. So I think that CJ Stroud blew an opportunity, and we know that there is nothing guaranteed in the NFL. Teams that could potentially be picked as Super Bowl contenders, a lot of the times, man, they don't make it. A lot of it, and it's sometimes people be like, man, we're going to come back next year and we're going to be even better. Sometimes that doesn't even happen. So I believe that he blew a huge opportunity versus New England Patriots because he could have I believe that he could have made it to the Super Bowl, and that defense versus Seattle defense would have been a Super Bowl to watch. Ultimately, I probably still would have picked the Seahawks, but CJ Stroud could have put something next to his name that would have been like, hey, he went to the Super Bowl. Let's see if he can get back. Now people are wondering, has he lost his mind? I think that's a bit too harsh, but they're trying to see if they lost touches of his game after having such a good rookie season. So I think that when you talk about it and his performance in a New England game, you're like, bro, what's wrong with him? He refused to throw the ball down the field by going 20 of 47 for 212 yards, 1 touchdown, and he was turnover prone, 4 interceptions, and he looked lost. He looked starstruck. He looked like a deer in headlights. He looked lifeless at times when the camera panned it on him, and literally all he had to do is come out there and make a couple plays because his defense was keeping him in the game until that second half where Bo Nix had a couple good passes. And I think that if my mans would have just tried to snap back into a good, snap back into a positive mindset, he could have gave his team a better opportunity to win the football game and potentially make the Super Bowl. So now they're going to exercise this 5th-year option, which I think is cool. Don't rush into giving him big-time money, and you see how he responds. He cut the locks off, so hopefully it's a new CJ Stroud coming into fray. And me, honestly, watching CJ Stroud, bro, I'm not taking anything away from a quarterback that wants to remain in the pocket. But I watched him, and I know some people are going to say, Bobby, that was years ago. But In one of the biggest games at Ohio State, my man's utilized his arm and his legs. And I feel like at times you can watch I feel like at times to get comfortable within the game, a quarterback can utilize their legs just to kind of build some confidence as long as they take care of the football and take care of their body. That is not to say that that quarterback should go out there and run it 10 times, but a couple of scrambles to pick up some yards and keep the chains moving go a long way in these closely called games, coach games, and tough matchups, especially if it wasn't working for him in those 4 interceptions. He needed a boost of energy, a boost of confidence on crucial downs. A third down scramble to pick up a first down and move the chains could have been a confidence booster for him. And I think that now that you have a running back coming in like David Montgomery, you're potentially getting Tank Dell back, and you still got a number of weapons, that could be huge for him moving forward, and we'll see if he'll be able to bounce back. But I think that the Houston Texans made a smart decision, not just giving him a bunch of money already before he's proven. We've seen this backfire to a number of teams, and one more recently in Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, they gave him, the Arizona Cardinals re-up on him after 3 seasons, and after that, it was a head scratcher. Hell, the same thing could be said about Trevor Lawrence, but Trevor Lawrence had a good season last year. And at one point, before we got to experience and go through the season that Trevor Lawrence went through last year, a lot of us was questioning, why isn't he receiving more criticism? What is going on down there in Jacksonville? And will he be quote unquote bust worthy, because of his performances down in Jacksonville and how he has gone through multiple coaches already? But he gets Liam Cohen. They able to turn it around. And CJ Stroud has D'Amico Ryans, who I believe is a really good coach. He just have to carry his end of the bargain now, and I hope that he can bounce back. I believe he has the talent to do so. You're in a division to where it's very, very winnable. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you seen the Colts have some success last year early on. Yeah, you see that the Titans are bringing in new coaches, and I believe their coaching staff has improved, but they still lack players. And yeah, you're going to have to deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who made the playoffs like you, CJ Stroud, but I believe he has the talent to get it done. But it's not on me. It's absolutely on CJ Stroud to get it done. And I commend the Houston Texans for placing the ball in his field or on his side of the court to say, hey, we want you to be here long term, but you have to give us more. You can't be the reason we're losing. And he absolutely was last season. So we'll see what happens this upcoming season. But man, I think that was a smart move by the Houston Texans just to, pause for a minute and not just chuck out the money so soon for CJ Stroud. Now, before we go, I want to talk about a draft prospect who I am finding to be very, very interesting. And that is wide receiver Chris Bell out of Louisville. And he comes in at 6'2", 222 pounds. He's not, for me, I haven't heard much about him until I heard it from somebody else through the national media, and I wanted to do my due diligence, so I went to check him out. Now, I come to find out that last year, late in the season for Louisville, he tore his ACL, and that's probably why he hasn't been discussed in many mock drafts as being one of the better wide receivers. But at 6'2", 222, and being able to run like that, man, I think this kid is very, very talented. His 2025 stats, he went out there and had 72 receptions, 917 yards, and 6 touchdowns. And there was one game that I watched versus the Miami Hurricane, and my God, versus the Miami Hurricane with them pass rushes in that team, he went out there and put on a damn show. He had 9 receptions, 136 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Balling. I'm talking about catching things down the field, crossing routes, things underneath, slant, and breaking it and running away from guys. He has strong hands. He has a good physical build to where he can throw players off of him. I don't want to go out there and say he's going to absolutely be this type of player, but he's kind of on the lines of a Amon St. Brown type or a DJ Moore type, like that kind of build for that type of receiver. And I think that he can bring a lot to a team, man. I think that you want to see a little bit more out of the route running from him. But I think Chris Bell is a guy that probably can go in day 2 and really make some noise for a team, man, that needs some more wide receivers. And I know it's going to be some trepidation about coming off that ACL injury, but I think that, hey, with the medicine and the technology that we have now, I think guys can really bounce back well from ACL injuries. It sucked that it had to be that way. And you hear a lot about other guys like Mekhi Lemon, Omar Cooper, and other Carnell Tate. You hear about those guys. And I'm not saying he's better than those guys, but I think that if he did not suffer that injury, he would have been talked about a lot more because of the skill set, man. I think this kid is very, very talented. I think he has a lot to offer to a team, and I can't wait to see where he goes, because I think that somebody is going to take a chance on him. They're going to say, hey, we're going to make sure you rehab in the right way. We're going to do our check-in prior to the draft, and then we'll make a decision right after that. But man, if you all have some time, go check out wide receiver Chris Bell from Louisville. And because, man, very, very talented wide receiver out there. Big guy, hands, speed. Now, we could not see what the 40-yard dash was, but I would imagine it's somewhere up there, 4.43, 4.4. And that's pretty damn good for a wide receiver with that size. And damn, and a lot of the times he's so built up, you don't even think that the man's 6'2", but he is. You think he a little more short and stockier, you know what I'm saying? But shout out to him, man, for putting out good tape on for Louisville. And I think that it's gonna be an interesting guy that you all should keep your eyes on when the draft rolls around in about 13 days, man. I can't wait. But hey, man, check him out. And y'all let me know how y'all feeling about Chris Bell, man. But that is it for me today, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed today's show as much as I did. Before you get up out of here, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well, man. I appreciate y'all. Make sure you always love football, because it's the best sport in the world. And y'all already know I'm going to catch y'all on the next one for sure. Peace.
This has been a presentation